we've come to the point where we are referencing South Park.
Hey,
Just don't know.
it gets the point across in an obscure way. Then you got to go with it.
You're listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, where HIPAA and humor collide to make learning fun. Your delightful hosts are Donna Grindle and David Sims. Relax, HIPAA help is on the way.
Welcome to episode 440, Stainless Steel. Welcome to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast. My name is David Sims of HIPAA for MSPs, and joining me is Donna Grindle of Carden. Rolling into the new year wide open.
Yeah, we are. We're going to take that approach, David. If you just keep saying it, it'll happen, right?
Wide open. We have no choice. We have to be wide open because nothing else is waiting.
I tell you what, there's so much going on. We're going to have a busy year.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be crazy.
If I can just remember to write 2024 and type 2024 instead of 2023, that's always my initial battle. But after that, this year is going to be there's a lot happening just in our world. Let's not count the world that's on fire and blowing up. Let's just talk about the little bitty corner that we live in. There's a lot going on.
And so you're saying ours is not on fire and blowing up?
If it is, it's the place I never want to be, right?
Yeah.
Hair on fire moments, we have to deal with them, but let's not do it anytime soon.
Yeah. So, the date change is interesting because, used to you would have to worry about writing checks. Like you always wrote the checks with the wrong date. But when's the last time you wrote a check?
Can't recall.
It's like,
but now I have to type it all the time. And that's where it'll come in.
Well, I don't know about you, but for me, because I don't have to keep up with the date as much as anymore because I'm not writing checks or doing the other things that require that. Mm-hmm. Now it's constant. I'm constantly having to look at the date. If I go somewhere where I have to write the date down, I'm like, hey, what's today's date? Somebody tell me what today's date is.
Let me look at my phone. Let me look at my watch somewhere.
Yeah. So it's, and of course, this time of year, it's like, what day is it? Because you got the 4-day work weeks that are happening because of the holidays and everything else. And it just takes a while to recover from the madness. And then by the time you get that done, you have Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day slapping you in the face. It's never ending.
It's always something. But at least it keeps you on your toes, David, because you need that.
It does. I do need to be on my toes. And today we'll be talking about something else that's coming soon, which is the Privacy Week coming really quickly.
To keep you on your toes.
Yes. Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about the Privacy Week and everything surrounding that, Data Privacy Week. And there are tons of resources and guides, and this is something that's put together every year by the National Cybersecurity Alliance. And so it's another reason and another way for you to take advantage of pumping out content to your folks, whether it's in your business or outside your business, to remind them not just about security, but about privacy and why it's important.
Mm-hmm. And, there's no time like the present. There's never a bad time to have a teaching moment. And there's free resources available, so you got to go with it.
Yeah. And if you happen to miss it, like for, maybe you're catching this episode in February, don't wait till next January. Just take the resources and push them out whenever you have the time. So don't worry about it. If you can't do it during the actual week of Privacy Week, it's okay. It is completely okay.
Yeah. Still use the stuff.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get into that in a second.
Yep, we will. Do want to say shout out to all of the folks, the 100 millionth listener. Just kidding. Thanks for everybody who listens, who follows us, who shares out the podcast and all that. Oh, by the way, if you haven't joined or visited, I guess it's not called joined, subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do that. Yeah. We're giving away a new car every week. Not really, but
You get a new car and you get a new car.
I know. I do have a 3D printer now, so we can send out new cars. It might be tiny, but you'd get one. All right. So let's roll into our first topic of the week, which is Price Tag Boot Camp.
Yes. Well, it is exciting that we have dates at least.
I know. April 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Mm-hmm. And it's here in Atlanta. We're discussing and talking with a couple of different places. Don't know for sure yet. But definitely doing those dates somewhere in the Atlanta area. So at least you can kind of log that in and we'll get details to you as far as that goes. But we have the dates and we'll probably by the time this gets posted have the ability to register. But if not, you can send us a message on the website. It'll take you to either registration or let us know you want to register. So as soon as it's out, we'll let you know. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be a very timely. If you listen to the episodes from the last couple of weeks about the HHS Cyber Plan and the CISA CPGs, and we haven't even gone through it yet, but New York is coming out with a thing about hospital cyber attacks. So the states are starting to do things. It's getting busy out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. If we don't have the registration page up, just email me your credit card information, and then that way we'll know exactly where to start. What?
What you need to learn.
We'll know exactly where to start talking about privacy and security if you email me that information.
I know. It's just like, why are you even? No. That's not even funny. Don't do that to me. We're just a couple of old farts.
Yeah, we've learned this week. Thanks to somebody on YouTube.
Who has no idea about our context, but they've got opinions about our thoughts.
So apparently if you put out YouTube shorts, which are a minute or less, I believe, people draw their own conclusions based on a very small clip. And then, the whole entire world gets drawn around that clip of their context of what you're talking about. And, apparently they point out the obvious as well. So anyway.
I know.
Look.
We digress.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
sometimes.
As always. So go to
AI is not going to be a bad thing after all.
Well, you can go to the HIPAA Boot Camp. You can go to PriceTagBootCamp.com. You can go to our website and link to it at helpmewithhipaa.com. We'll have a link if you can't remember Price Tag Boot Camp or the HIPAA Boot Camp. Both will take you to the same place because it is the HIPAA Privacy and Security Boot Camp. Price Tag Boot Camp gives us a lot of flexibility because this, as we have said, are things that are happening for all businesses soon. We're going to be ready for you. We'll CPG you.
CPG you later.
All right. Now we're going to have to start working our way through those TLAs, see what we can come up with.
All right. So our 405D tip of the week is, guess what? Some awesome content got pushed out. So here's an interesting one for you. How to implement cyber insurance.
Yeah. One for small entities and one for medium or large size entities that explains what is cyber insurance, why is it important, the kind of thing you should consider when you're looking into it, questions you should ask, all of those kind of things. Regardless of the size of your organization, one of these two or both of them should help you evaluate how you approach the whole cyber insurance thing. But know this, it is becoming harder and harder to get your insurance without having to commit that you are doing and can prove you are doing all these things. So all the people that are like, I don't need to do that, I just get the insurance. That's starting to wear out on you, because the whole now those of us who do the work can't get the insurance either, because all the money's gone. So anyway, get to know about cyber insurance, and we have the links, and it's also at the 405D website under the resources. There are plenty of resources there. I love the Check Your Cyber Pulse. Huge fan of it. It should be used everywhere. And where is that website, David?
It is 405d.hhs.gov.
Yes, it is. So,
yeah.
Moving on down the path.
Yeah, that does remind me, though, of a conversation I had not too long ago in the last year. This organization said, we need cybersecurity, but let's get the insurance in place first, and then we'll come back around to you. And I'm like, okay, go try that out.
I don't know that it works that way.
It doesn't work that way, but you go try that. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see you.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it out. All right. So Privacy Week 2024 is upon us.
It is upon us. Upon us. Really? So Privacy Week is January 21st to the 27th of 2024. So we don't have a whole month like we do cybersecurity, but it used to be just a day for Data Privacy Day. And now we're expanding into a week. So even if all you do is send out something saying, hey, all, it's Data Privacy Week, check out these resources, you're getting a leg up. And make sure that you document that you did it. Hello. Prove it. You got to prove it. There you go. So there are some cool things. A lot of it gets recycled because data privacy doesn't change a lot. Like cybersecurity is not constantly changing. But I think a lot of people need to understand just how much data they're generating. Like right now, listening to this, you're generating a massive amount of data.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for agreeing with me, David. I thought you'd have a little something to add.
I do agree with you.
But it's, one of the big things that I don't think people understand is their amount of data you're generating, unless you're totally unconnected. You got everything turned off, no, AirPods, no phone. You're not browsing the web on anything. You're not nothing. You're totally off the grid. You're not generating data at that moment. But the minute you reconnect, it's going to generate a bunch more data. How long have you been gone? Where's your new place? Let us triangulate you. All of those things are taking place, and the convenience is great. I mean, I love to be able to tell the little HomePod, clean the hallway, and it sends the little robot to vacuum the hallway where I spilled a whole bunch of stuff getting in the attic, because I had to do that yesterday. But all of those things are great, but that's generating data about us.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all the people that say, well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. You should. You really should. You will care when somebody takes over your life or shares your life in a way that you don't want, or both.
Yeah,
And
it can end up bad for you.
And it's something where it's, even for us, I know that when I'm going through, we have reminders for us to go look at our privacy settings on a lot of our apps. And I go through them, and it's so hard because a lot of the conveniences of technology require you to give up data. And it's like, yeah, I want that convenience, but I don't want to give them the data. Or I don't want to give them access to parts of my data. And making that decision, it kind of reminds me of back in the day when I asked about, well, can't we just prompt the user to do this? And the room full of users burst into laughter. We're just going to blow right by that. But that's the answer that people still do today. You know, do you agree with our privacy policy?
Sure.
Nobody even looks. I mean, I'll actually go through and look at them, and I've sent people, according to your policy, blah. And it's like, well, yes, but nobody else seems to care because they're not reading it.
Yeah.
There's a very disgusting South Park episode that, first of all, it's so disgusting you'll never forget it, but it is South Park. And if you are okay with South Park disgusting episodes, it is a fascinating, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it basically shows you just how stupid it is that nobody's reading these privacy policies. And Cartman gets involved in a thing where you are forced to connect to other humans and make a human. It's really disgusting. But supposedly this is what's in the Apple privacy privacy thing that everybody signed, that they could call on you at any time. And now, David, you're going to have to go find that one and watch it, because I can see you going, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to have to look.
Yeah, I got to know what the joke is.
Yeah. Oh, it's yeah. But know that it was such, and it's an old one too. I mean, it's not something new. But it is so disgusting that it's one of those
you have
things,
everybody watching it.
you can't unsee it. You can't unsee
it. Why is this massive spike in this old episode happening all of a sudden? It's because of the privacy week. Why didn't we?
Data privacy. This is what happens if you don't read them. South Park style. But it's one of those things that years ago burned into me. That vision that I cannot unsee, that anytime I'm reading a privacy notice, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be Cartman. It's like that little voice is in the back of your brain.
Yeah. So, the National Cybersecurity Alliance did put out an article kind of related to this about how to be an online privacy snob.
Yes.
So 6-minute read is what it says, which for me is probably 10 minutes because I read slow. but it's interesting. So, you have to know what kind of data that you have out there and how to take control of it. What kind of data are you sharing? Some of the things you've just talked about.
Yep. And here we go. I bet this is it. Yep. This one's it. The human centipede. The human centipede. It there's a Wikipedia on it, so I'll put the Wikipedia in the show notes so that you can at least go see. And it's Kyle. It's not Cartman. It's Kyle. I don't know how many of them are involved, but as soon as you see the Wikipedia article, you'll see what I'm talking about. So anyway.
Man, we have come to the point where we are referencing South Park.
Hey,
don't know.
it gets the point across in an obscure way. Then you got to go with it. But this tells you, this is how old the episode is. It is so old that it's an old person now, according to the internet, because it was April 2011. That's a long time ago, internet-wise, and it's still stuck in my head. Yeah, so it involves Cartman boasts that he owns it, and not having one, blah, blah, blah. So it does start with Cartman, Kyle, all of the things, the iTunes update, it's it's insane that it goes back that far, and still people still don't understand those same concepts that they were making fun of at that time. So yes, you need to learn how to be a data privacy snob. We get to be one every day.
But why do they have to give it some negative connotation name? You know?
Snob?
Yeah. Like, you want everybody to do it, then don't give it a negative name like snob.
Okay. Well, they also have become a champion. And everybody's like, well, that's too nerdy. I'm not going to do that.
I don't want to be a champion. How to be a privacy loser.
Well, you're already that if you don't care. So I don't know how to make it more exciting and sexy.
Maybe they should change it from WEEK week to WEAK week. So it's privacy week.
Yeah. All of the marketing people keep trying to figure out how to make what we do interesting. And that includes the data privacy and all of that. And that's why we get so many comments of people that like, I can't believe I laughed at something about HIPAA. So go out. There's take control of your data, which goes along with get your stuff off search. The SOS, get your stuff off search. It really started in the nerd sphere as get your sugar honey iced tea off search. But take control of your data, respect people's privacy. It's smart to do that. Don't, I dare anyone, I always stare them down if they're going to argue with me. Like even, oh, well, I need a photocopy of your ID. No, you don't. I need your social security. No, you don't. You don't. You don't need these things.
Yeah. The worst one for me is when you, I hate when you go like, I'm at Home Depot and I'm buying a screwdriver. Can you give me your email address and your phone number? And I'm like, no, I'm not giving you any of that.
None.
I just want to buy a screwdriver.
Yeah, we would like to track your purchases so we can send you all of the right things.
Yeah. I remember one time telling, it wasn't Home Depot, it was a similar store, but I remember telling the girl that, she's like, would you like to give me your email address? And I was like, no. And she couldn't, she's like, I don't know how to ring you up with that. It's like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you not click that skip button right there?
Yeah, that's like giving them a $50 bill and asking for change in a certain way. And it's like,
oh, you can't pay in cash these days. You'll mess up the entire, time space continuum.
Except where you go and they only take cash. Now that's messing me up even more. It's like, I want to be able to pay, but I don't want to be made to pay in cash because but again, it's all about the tracking tools that are there and understanding just how much of your data is out there. And one of the reasons that I teach in our workforce training about the gold bar concept of your medical record, when you share it with someone, you expect them to treat it like a gold bar. It's your gold bar. It is the most thorough and intimate details about you that you can have in your medical records. And when I do that, then I want them to protect it and protect me like it's a gold bar, because that's what it is to me. And I don't want them letting somebody over there with a knife shaving little pieces off of it to make some jewelry or something along those lines. I want it secured. And, when you think about it that way, it kind of helps. But then when you say, okay, how many gold bars do you have that you are storing today? And you look at a vault. Oh, well, wait, we have 80,000, 150,000, 80 million. It doesn't matter. Even a small practice has several thousand. unless they're just getting started, and then they need to accept that they're headed that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it is hugely important, and it's okay to become a privacy snob. What is it? And snob kind of says, I'm going to do it differently than everybody else. And the whole idea is you shouldn't be a snob. Everybody else should be doing it with you. So what do we?
It is?
Yeah. So how do we make it inclusive, David? I don't know.
Yeah, that's way over my pay grade.
That's why you just be a snob, David, and shut up.
I figured if you just tell people how to do it wrong, they'll want to do the opposite, because apparently that's what works. Because we're telling them how to do it right, they're doing the opposite. So let's just start telling them how to do it wrong.
I don't know what the answer is, and this is what a loop that we end up in often. But you can become a data privacy champion, data privacy week champion, just like you can become a cybersecurity month, CSAM, P week. Dubois. Moving along.
That's what happens when you get old. You have your P's week. Yeah. Anyway.
We're all over the place today. It's welcome to the new year, folks. We've had a couple of weeks off not recording, and you can tell. But go there. There's some great stuff. They have events. They have webinars. They have posters. They have videos. It's a litany of things, including like, how do I manage my privacy settings? There's a whole section on that. So we'll have a link to it, but if you just look for, it's one of the features at the National Cybersecurity Alliance, which is at staysafeonline.org. So utilize the tools that are available, folks. We had a great conversation about it in the Cardin Club All-Stars monthly hangout about how important it is to make it about the individual, because it is. And if we all become better about it on our own stuff, we will become better about it with other people's stuff. So use the tools that are available. And, if you have to, the privacy policy example if your culture and your environment accepts things like South Park, hey.
It is worth mentioning, though, that although a lot of the things that get talked about in these privacy weeks and CSAM and all that, although they seem like they're redundant, people need to hear the same message over and over and over and over and over again. So it doesn't matter that we've already covered social engineering attacks, so we don't need to do that again. No, you need to. We need to do it over and over and over.
And yes, and it is absolutely one of the tools that I learned when I was taking some marketing classes and advertising stuff, is that if I am sick of the message, I'm sick of hearing it, then I've heard it. Yeah. But until then, I haven't really heard it.
Or if you really want to get somebody, you want them to learn it, then have them actually teach the next session you do in your business.
Yep. That'll force you into it.
That'll get them. So, but speaking of teaching somebody a lesson, Proofpoint has exposed a very sophisticated social engineering attack on recruiters. So if you're hiring folks now, you might not be in the HR department. You might be a small business with 5 individuals, but at some point you're probably hiring somebody, which makes you a recruiter.
Yeah. Or the people looking for a job because they've done it in both directions.
Yeah. So the attack is on people who are looking to recruit people. It infects computers with malware. So let's talk about how this happens.
Yeah. So this is your example of, don't think just because you've now been good at these phishing emails for so long that you will suddenly not be fooled by these kind of things, because now they're taking it to another level. So let's say you're running an ad, whether you do it online at one of the services, LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, whatever they are. They find that you are there, and they go and create these personas that sit out there all the time. Now they have those. They just have burner ones, if you will. And they create them and have them sitting there so that they're ready. They're not just now created. They've been there for a while. And you you say, contact us at blah. Send an email to, we're hiring at, not at helpmewithhippa.com, but you know what I mean.
Your company here.
Yeah. Enter your name here. Is we're hiring, so send an email here, and then you get an email, and it's from somebody that says, I'm interested in the job, what do you need from me? And you reply, resume, blah, blah, blah. When they reply to you, they're sending you either an infected attachment, but so many of those are now getting kicked out that what they're doing is they're sending you and saying, here's my PDF or my Word document, but it only gives you basic stuff, and I have an online resume.
Right. That way the malicious stuff never goes through your email security. Because
Exactly.
there's nothing malicious in the email.
Mm-mm. And I mean, I've seen this work where they've built a website. You can build a website in no time just using Canva now. And, throw that up there and boom, I got a website up and running, and then I'll, deal with it later. It's great for that, but it's also one of the things they use. So now I'm putting my personal resume out on the web.
Yep.
And that's great. So the recruiters like that. I don't know about you. I mean, to me, as an IT person today, I would expect to see the resume is on a webpage somewhere. Well, what had happened was you go there and it actually then starts running code the minute you get to the website. It's trying to figure out, have we already attacked you? If we've already attacked you, we'll do these things. If we haven't, we're going to do these things. And once you pass all of their evaluations, so they're evaluating your system, your security, what do they know about you, all these different things, and filter through it. And if you pass it, then it redirects you where you're prompted to solve a CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA. Find all the buses.
Yeah, I hate those.
I do too. But we're also used to them, and we all hate them so much that you just, again, it creates this emotional thing of crap. I got to go through this. But instead of closing it, you go ahead and go through it because that's the only way to get through, and everybody's used to it. So once you do that, now you feel like you've gotten into a secure area, don't you, David?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They made me do this. Yeah, that's great. And then once you're there, you are given a zip file to download the resume. And inside it is a legitimate software. And this is where they operate now. We call it living off the land. And of course, there's an acronym for it. LOTL. Lotl. It's a lot of fun. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't know what's wrong with me today. So this actual piece of software that is legit runs, and it stores some stuff that then lets them use the existing software that's on everybody's systems to do malicious things because they don't look malicious. And so first, it starts by dropping off some more software. And once that's executed, it decrypts some malware called more eggs. Isn't that great? So we're going to send you some more eggs. And the more eggs then start, and then it's like it deletes itself, so you don't have there's no footprints. Now, most of the digital stuff in the logs might be able to find it, but it happens so quickly, it would be way buried in there. So you don't even know. But basically what has now happened is they are inside your network, profiling your network right then and there. From that point forward, and they can download additional things. That software is sitting there. It looks like all the normal software operating under Windows operating systems, and it starts just doing its thing. And they did it in reverse 2022, early 2023, where they pretended to be the ones that were looking for people, and then they got everybody that signed up for the job was getting infected. Now they're doing it the other way around, which my guess is they're going to find that is much more lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all kinds of stuff in it. It figures out whether it's in a sandbox. It figures itself out, and it's what is the quote? That this is the group is TA 4557 is the hacker group. You know, they're all gangs now, and they give them a name not because the hacker group says that's their name necessarily. It's whoever finds them, whatever identifier they've used to find them, they give them a name. So they described the group as, quote, skilled, financially motivated threat actor, and they demonstrate sophistical, I just had to get that word in there, sophistical social engineering. And they constantly are changing what the fake domains, they're changing their infrastructure, they change how the emails come. They're just hopping around all the time. And it's an increasing threat, they're saying, and it's really hard to catch.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, what the answer is, and this gets back to why we have to change the way we're doing things, of our only defense is to hope they don't click it.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, your security solutions may or may, I would assume based on knowing what you use, it would potentially it would notice some of the activity.
Yeah, it should. But they're, you know, with all these things, they're always looking for ways around it. And, you know, the good thing about using some of the best on the market is they're the best on the market. The bad thing is they're also the one that everybody's looking at to circumvent.
Yeah. If I can get around that, I can get around anything.
That's right. But yeah, it just depends, because you got certain things that a user is allowed to do or a system is allowed to do as part of its job. And as long as they're doing those things when they're living off the land, then it's very difficult for software to say, hey, this is not right. This is malicious. Because there are many things that I do in my daily use of my computer that would be considered malicious.
Mm-hmm.
I.e. installing software could be malicious. Going to certain websites could be seen as malicious. They're just, you know, changing settings could be malicious. I often run scripts on my computer, which I know not every user does that, but that is definitely malicious.
I got a couple of mine that I'm like, I got to make sure I remember to tell the security thing to let that happen.
Yeah.
And here's another thing is when you're looking at this living off the land, if you will, the software, the AI concept continues to grow within all elements of particularly the criminal elements or the bad actors, if you will. they're able to look at ways to fool you, ways to get the scripts to run, ways to get all of these things to happen. And that's why these rules are put in place for people. You and I will be mad if we screw up and hit one, but other people won't even know they've done it. Mm-hmm. So it's like the software where somebody called and yelled at you because they had to call and get some software installed and they didn't like this security and it turns out they were trying to install malware.
Yeah.
What is that one? Isn't that it?
Yeah. Yeah. It elevates their privileges from a standard user to a administrative user just to do a certain task, which is usually installing software. So we prevent any installation of software without being reviewed first, which it gets in the way of users, but it does so for a reason. Mm-hmm. Most of the things we catch are actually more shadow IT related than malicious. It's a user trying to install something that is not approved for their environment. So they're trying to install Dropbox, or they're trying to install the one that blows my mind the most is when they're trying to install, what is the one that plays the video games? Steam. They try to install Steam. Yeah. And I see that periodically. And it's almost always one of the business owners. And I'm like, I bet you that their kids are out of school and they're at work with them. They're like, here, just play video games. Stay out of my hair.
Something like that. Yeah. So anytime when you see that, do you tell them no? Or because it's the business owner, you say, oh, well, you can get by it.
And unless we have been contacted previously to say, it's okay, I need to install this, and here's the reasons why, then we reject it. We reject all of them. So if it's something that we recognize as legitimate, like maybe they're trying to run a printer install or something, and we know that that's the type of printer they have or something like that, we'll let that through. But I would say 95% of the stuff, if they've not communicated with us previously that it's going to happen, we deny it.
And I know you and I have both been in this situation where it's like, okay, so we're putting all these security protocols in place and we know why. And then you get, well, can we do it for everybody but the owners?
Yeah.
Then don't do it for anybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
The harder part is that some software, you can't whitelist it. So for example, QuickBooks is the worst one we have to deal with. Because of the way QuickBooks updates, you have to update it using an administrative user, not even an elevated user. It has to be an administrative user. And so that's become problematic. And we can't whitelist it because every update that comes out has a different hash, meaning that the software sees it as a different piece of software. So you can't say, well, allow all updates for QuickBooks, because you don't know what that update's going to look like until it comes out. Right. The software is not looking at it and going, oh, this is called QuickBooks Update, blah, blah, blah. So we'll let it run. It looks at other things, other identifiers. And so we don't know what those identifiers are going to be until it comes out. So that's the biggest problem we have is people say, let's just whitelist this whole, any updates on this app. And most of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah, so it's not as easy as everybody wants it to be. Because if we do make it easy, they wouldn't have to work this hard to do it. But because we're making it harder, they are still getting around it.
Yeah, because if it was that easy, I would just create malware and call it QuickBooksUpdate.exe and send it out to you.
Yeah.
And you'll try to install it.
Yeah. So understanding how being that privacy snob goes hand in hand with being a security snob.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And that's why we need to, maybe we need to just have a whole snobby episode. Not snotty. Snobby.
Yeah. We'll do the whole episode with our noses in the air.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And do not think that it's ever a bad idea to share this discussion with other people. This is how easy it is. I trick you into thinking because I've reached out to you at your request.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've lured you in.
My favorite one so far, when I asked somebody what their defenses were for users doing things, the response was, "I hire smart people." That one, it's one of those times where you laughed at somebody when they said it, but then you realize they were serious.
Yeah.
That really is your okay.
I believe that I am fairly smart at some things, not everything. There's some things I'm really all out not smart about, but I don't believe that I can get past anything. I'm always paranoid. And that is the core problem, is whether it's giving away your data and thinking it doesn't matter, or I don't have to worry about these protections because my people will figure it out. We do phishing tests all the time.
So you're either a privacy snob or a privacy slob.
Oh, bump.
There's your marketing for today.
There you go. Don't be a slob, be a snob. Hey, that'll be a new one. We'll have to come up with something with that. We can have Murphy saying that on a t-shirt. Don't be a slob, be a snob. Well, I think that's a snobby way to end it, don't you?
Yep. We definitely don't want to be slobby.
We'll be better next week, folks. I promise. Maybe. Well, maybe.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
No, never mind.
All right, folks, that's our show for today. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this if you want to. And go watch the South Park episode, please, for goodness sakes, and let Donna know how horrible it was.
It's awful. I'm telling you, it's disgusting, but it never has left me all these years.
Maybe that's what training needs to be. Horrible and disgusting.
Got to get their attention somehow.
I guess. All right. Well, join us again next week. Remember, HIPAA's not about compliance. It's about patient care.
Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right. Protect your patients day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with HIPAA. Let's get it right.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.